Feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the post-show wrap-up video here on the Central Pennsylvania Shrimp Tank. I'm your co-host, Nathan the Pistol Shrimp in Bowdoin, alongside Bougie Shrimp, Mr. Taylor Ranker. That might be a consistent nickname from here on out.
It is. I'm using it.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
What's the right way to say it?
Bougie.
Bourgeois.
Yeah,
Bourgeois.
bougie.
Sounds like a fancy wine.
It does, yeah. Hey, we just got done filming the podcast here with Mark Everest of Occupational Athletics Incorporated, and you could catch a full replay of that broadcast on our website at shrimptankpodcast.com/Central PA, and be sure to subscribe to our specific Central PA Shrimp Tank channel on every platform where you can get a podcast now, nationally through the iHeartRadio platform as well, which is really awesome. And we got to talk a lot about how the company came to be, and this, I think, marriage between training as an athlete to, if you're a business owner, treating your team and staff like athletes. You're the coach, you're the owner, and your employees are your athletes, and how you can help make them a lot more valuable, a lot more engaging, happier, productive, everything through using their services. We talked a lot about and we're going to talk about it today, the four quarters of life. Yeah. And Mark wrote a book on it. We didn't get to talk a lot about his book, but he's authored a few books, and he's done some of his own work on podcasts and radio and TV. So he's going to be a bit shy, I think, on this video, but we'll try to break him out of his shell.
Just a tad.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Yeah. But first, why don't you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the company, Occupational
Okay, I'm Mark
Athletics.
Everest. I refer to myself as the head coach.
The head coach. I
Perfect.
like that. Makes sense.
The Belichick.
I am
We
the head
talked about
coach of
the
Occupational
Patriots.
Athletics. You might call yourself a president, CEO. I'm head coach. As a head coach, we care about our team members, and so we do everything humanly possible to protect them and take care of them. And working in the world of athletics and high level, NFL and Olympic athletics, we have to do everything humanly possible to protect the athlete. So we take the philosophy, that's why we're called Occupational Athletics. It's a brand, trademark, and we train and treat workers just as athletes. And then the coaching staff that manages the team, they become coaches themselves. We call them game plan coaches. And so it's a real business, been around for 36 years.
Which, by the way, to the employers, and I know lots of them who are listening, who are struggling to find good team members, what a great tool to differentiate yourself as you're hiring. What a phenomenal tool.
It's a retention tool and a recruitment tool. If somebody new coming into your team knows that you're doing everything humanly possible to protect them, for a quarter more an hour, they're not going down the street. They're hanging with you. You know what I mean? So, it's challenging times out there in business because the market's not real big for workers. And I deal with lots of huge companies that are struggling with that. So we're seeing a lot of benefit. And the morale. Think about morale in companies. I go into some environment. I'm like dirty jobs, Mike Grell. I've been in barge companies, mining, deep sea fishing. I mean, I've seen it all. At the end of the day, there's some tough stuff out there to do for.
That's not bougie. No. That's
bougie is like the
bougie
opposite. Bougie's, he's working out, going camping for you is at the Ritz.
I like it.
Or maybe the
Hilton.
Hilton.
Maybe
on a bad day.
if he gets lost, he ends up at the.
That's kind of my wife too.
Awesome.
Honey, you want to go camping? He has to go to the Marriott.
That's good. So talk about this idea that you wrote a book on about the four quarters of life.
Yeah, that came about through working with the Department of Aging. I was the chair many years ago. I wasn't young enough. I was the youngest one on the committee. They had different physicians and nutritionists to help Pennsylvanians become healthier with age. And when I was on that, I discovered that, aging we're all going to do. Mm-hmm. Now, some do it well and some don't.
Yep.
And some have these epiphanies like yourself.
I did in my halftime.
As we go through the quarters of life, people are going to start to recognize that, I'm not feeling the way I used to feel. My energy's not where I have more aches and pains. I have more stress. My attitude is going down. So the idea of the game plan is take your life and what's working and what's not, and evaluate that, like in halftime in the locker room. So the four quarters analogy, if you'd like to share it in this segment, is if you live to 80, the first quarter of life is when you're first born, age 20. And most of my audiences that I speak to are out of that quarter. You remember that quarter?
Too long ago, yeah.
Was that the 80s?
I remember.
I might not remember that quarter.
Think what you did in the first quarter
I
of
made
life.
some bad life decisions in the first quarter of life.
We all do. And then when you get to the second quarter, you hit 21. That's the big birthday. Or I can legally party now.
Yeah.
Oh, you never had a beer before that, did you?
No.
And at 21 to 39, you're starting to notice that life changes. You might find a mate, you get married, have some kids, you got to get a job, you got to be responsible about life, and the next thing you know, your birthdays are coming a whole lot faster.
Yeah.
Are yours coming quicker now, your birthdays?
Oh, I mean, by the calendar, no, but they feel like it. Oh, and a quick little side note. I did not have my first beer until after I was 21. You're welcome. That's
you buy
right.
that?
Now that
Sure.
that is bougie. That is
Sure.
real bougie.
Bougie Master Shrimp.
Nathan's a good kid. He's a good kid. Me, on the other hand,
Then you go into halftime. This is where you had your epiphany.
I had my
40
epiphany
to
at 40,
41,
yep.
you got 1 year in the locker room. That's it. I wish you had more time, but it's life. Living 80, that would be your halftime. Then 42 to 60 is the third quarter of life, which
I'm squarely embedded in that.
You're
are
embedded,
as well.
Jim. I'm deep in it.
Yep.
And in the fourth quarter, things are really starting to change. And when I see what happens to people as they age, I go back to my class reunions every 5 years. And I went to my 40th a couple of years ago. It's just, I'm dating myself. And I'm looking at my classmates. I didn't even recognize half of them. I'm like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Before we put the name tags,
Yeah.
it's a true story. This guy comes up to me and he's like 6'6". He's huge, no name tag. And he goes, "Hey, Mark Everest, how you doing?" I'm looking at this guy and I'm clueless, no idea who he is.
And there couldn't have been that many 6'6".
No, I figured I'd play
you'd
football
think,
with
yeah.
him, and which
Right.
I did. And he goes, "It's me, Jack. Don't you recognize me?" I mean, Jack. And I didn't know who he was. I felt really silly. So, what do you call somebody if you don't know the name? They know
Buddy.
you. Hey, Jack, how you
Hey,
doing?
guy.
What do you
buddy.
call?
You,
Dude.
Chief.
Remember, dude? That was in the 70s.
Dude, right? Hey, dude. Right.
I said, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" He goes, "Don't you recognize me?" I should have been honest. I said, "Sure I do, bud." So I went from buddy to bud.
That's more formal.
So he goes, "What?" He goes, "What's me, Jack? Don't you remember we wrestled together? We played football. We were athletes." I'm like, "Oh my God, this is that Jack?" I didn't know who he was. He moved out to California. He got a full scholarship as a football player back in high school. Superstar athlete. Comes back. Nobody saw the guy. Never moved back to Pennsylvania. Stayed out in California. I would too if I moved out there.
Yeah.
Right? Great weather. But he gained about 175 pounds of weight.
Whoa.
That he did not have in the first quarter of life. He got injured playing sports and he lost his motivation. And he told me, he said, "You know what happened to me, Mark? After football, my career was shattered. I didn't go to the NFL. I was done." I met my wife in college. 3 kids later, look at me now. I'm a ticking time bomb. He said, "You know what I did? I let myself go." So it doesn't matter what you do for a living, where you've been, it's where you're going. The idea is this, that if you take the rest of your life, you got to make it the best of your life.
Right.
Because if you don't, you've heard that analogy, you're going to lose momentum in life. He had so many health problems. He was listing all this stuff he had wrong with him medically. I mean, dude, you got to turn the game around. So I
Yeah.
got him a little more motivated. I gave him one of my game plan books I had up in my car. So I hope the guy
Hopefully.
takes it serious. And I'm trying to stay in touch with him. He say he's a little more motivated. He joined a gym.
I want to back this up a little bit because there was something you said on the podcast piece where you referred to initially the idea was it was just a program,
Right.
more of a passion project. It sounded
Correct.
like you, and it was a
Right.
Dr. Joyner at the time.
Yeah, Dr. Joyner. He's still
But
my
somewhere
partner.
you
Yeah.
turned that into a business, and that just intrigues me. When did you realize I should make this a business and why?
Well, I made it into a business, but it wasn't making money. When in the hospital, I started up a hospital wellness program. I said, there should be a business here doing wellness. You know?
You'd think.
And it was ahead of the time, and it really wasn't. Nobody wanted to buy wellness. They didn't know what the heck it was. What do you want to do? I'm going to pay to keep my employees healthy. Yeah, that's going to cost you some money. Well, I don't want to do that. So people had to pay out of their pocket to come take an exercise class in a business. You think that was going to last?
No.
No, it didn't. So through trial and error and through working in orthopedics and seeing people get hurt and working in aging, I figured, well, there's a business here, and that's where we shifted gears, and we have made a business. We've been around for 36 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but it didn't start out as occupational athletics.
Well, and it's amazing, too, the last 30 years or so, the evolution of awareness about fitness and health and wellness in the country is blossomed, and yet I suspect the results haven't.
That's correct. That's
Yeah.
the
It's a little
sad
sad.
news. The sad news is we got every magazine and book and all the information in the world available to us to be well. But if you look at American society, and I travel extensively and deal with lots of industries, the majority of Americans, unfortunately, are not taking good care of themselves. They want to, but they don't make time to do it. And they don't crave it. You got to crave it. You got to crave the lifestyle.
Well, you said you said a number of different things that I think all lead back to one core principle, which is you've got to take personal initiative and responsibility about all these decisions. And if you're not going to do that, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but our society is one that seems to be moving in a direction where it's not your own, it's everybody else's fault, and you don't have control. But you got to gain control and take that control back.
You do. And it starts with the coaches of the team or the company that you're in. If you care about your team members, you got to take this stuff serious, and you got to start thinking out of the box and shift away from wellness and go into human maintenance.
FYI, business owners and leaders, that's you.
Yeah,
the gauntlet is down.
The gauntlet is
You're the
down.
coach.
You're the coach.
You got to take care of the players, and human maintenance is the ultimate way to do it.
All right, so we've already established that those of you who are watching who have a business need to make sure you have a program like this in place. And for those who are watching who want to engage with Mark, with you and your company, what's the best way for them to learn about that?
Go to occupationalathletics.com. Just take a cruise through the website and get a snapshot of what we do, how we do it. It'll give you a little of that. And then also you can reach out to us on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, social media, Facebook, all the social medias you can get to us. Again, at the end of the day, it's really got one life. And we try, as a motivational speaker and being on Sirius Radio for 20 years, we touch a lot of listeners. I got 1.5 tuning in. It's sad to see how people are living in America.
Yeah. It is.
Well, that's why I said the awareness is there, but the results don't.
Well, there's more fast food restaurants today than the history of our country. There's nowhere else to put them, so we're taking them over to Asia and everywhere else in the world. And
that's true.
They're getting Americanized. Yeah, they're getting supersized now.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that inspires me about Mark is if you've reached his level, you get to bring in top talent and a bodyguard from Alpharetta, Georgia, which quick shout out to Ted and Lee down in Alpharetta. We got a guy native to you that came up here and is watching us.
He's
here,
my colleague, Ben Tucker, with Fusionetics, one of the most brilliant tools I've ever seen in technology, looking at the body with functional movement.
He's here in the studio today.
He's in the
just can't
studio
see
with
him
us,
from-
visiting from Atlanta.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thanks so much for being here. I think we talked on the podcast about this being an under-discussed, underutilized topic and a benefit that employers can provide. So again, those of you who are watching this podcast and this video, if you're not doing something like this, you got to do it. Better employees, more engaged, benefits, possibly a tractor for acquiring new talent, retention. It's just all good. And check out occupationalathletics.com for more information. Next week on our show, we're going to have our good buddy Charlie Mitchell, right?
Commonwealth Foundation.
It's going to get a little political next time, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I heard it's going to be a huge episode. So you like that? Hey, we'll see you next week.
And I'd just like to close on one thing, if you don't mind.
Please,
Okay,
go for it.
we're all athletes in life. Every day's a game day. If you change the way you think about yourself, think about that. Don't take your game day for granted because it could be your last. You just don't know. So make it a good day.
Every day's a game
I like
day.
it.
Every
Make
day's
it
a game
good
day.
We'll see you next week on the Central PA Shrimp Tank.
Cheers.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp